doing a survey. Do you know anything about corporate fraud?
No.
Oh my goodness. That is an item existed before I was born.
We heard about it, but personally we don't know much about it.
Things to do with misappropriated funds and stuff like that.
Embezzlement, improper corporate governance.
No, I don't comment. Thanks.
No idea.
Not too sure.
I didn't know.
I don't know.
No, I'm not sure what that is. Sorry.
I don't know is the public's general consensus of what corporate fraud is in the heart of KL's central business district, revealing that most people are in the dark. Now, corporate fraud can be any kind of fraud committed against a business. It's also whether auditors can detect this fraud and what will the authorities do about it, because experts say that the legal framework in the country is there, but the enforcement is weak. They also say that fraud has become more complex and it's not that easy to detect.
I think the media has certainly played a big part in bringing to people's minds that, wow, there is this complex way of doing things and getting away with it.
I think there were some studies that actually said that things like bribery and corruption is part and parcel of business, and it's a cost. It's one of the costs that needs to be included in doing business in Malaysia. So if you lump all those into whether those falls under the corporate fraud definition, then it brings a different level of argument.
My honest opinion is that it's not on the decline. It can't be. The country is developing.
I think it's very easy to blame fraud on government institutions or even the regulatory authorities. I think we have to put a step back. These authorities, the government, the regulatory authorities, there's only so much they can do. They can put in policies that will prevent fraud. They can put in corporate governance issues that will help prevent fraud.
But there has to be an effort to follow through. A lot of companies have, and I know public listed companies have whistleblowing systems. Right? At the moment, there is this fear that whistleblowers are the ones who get prosecuted just because of what we see in the media. I think it's very much a Malaysian way of thinking in that we don't want to get involved.
It is also complicated by organizations forming shell companies to create the semblance of legitimate business transactions. Creative accounting is often used to cover up fraud.
Probably where we are a bit lacking is in the enforcement area and in the understanding of some of all this corporate exercise that is happening.
Unfortunately, words like settle lah, biasa lah, it's become part of our Malaysian psyche.
With that particular company, 1MDB, I don't think it's not so much creative accounting. I think what has happened is that there were certain assets that was not cited by the auditors, or that was deemed, or they may have given them wrong information to say that the assets exist in that particular company.
A lot of the fraud that takes place within companies is from within companies. Very rarely will you get it an external factor. You do get it in supply chain situations, but you'll get someone who understands how the function of the company works and they know exactly which spots to hit.
One thing that will happen is that the fraud will be getting very much complicated, which will make it even harder for the auditors to detect, and even forensic professionals like ourselves.